Hey, it's Jim Ed with the Improvement Channel. Today we are going to take this fairly nice builder fan, but we're going to upgrade it to something much more modern. A couple of things about the fan that you get here with the builder series is you're going to get a switch on the wall that's going to cover the light and the fan. And when you switch this fan on, you probably can't hear it, especially when I'm talking, but there's a sound. This is an AC motor and you can hear it. In a quiet room like this, you can certainly hear more than just the fan blades. You can hear the motor humming, which is okay. We've had that forever. It's been that way. But today's newer DC fans, like I'm getting ready to install here, does away with that. You will not hear it at all. So let's go from this to this. It's a great time to like and subscribe. You'll stick around. You'll see how I got this installed, what there is to it. And at the very end, I'm going to give you some thoughts on why this one may be right for you, maybe why it won't be, but overall, my thoughts and opinions on the whole fan. Here's everything we get with the fan. We're going to do just a little bit of install for you. We're not going to get too heavy into that, but I'll give you a good idea what's involved. Pretty easy, not too hard if you're a little bit handy. I got my garbage can out, got everything unpacked. Plastic in the garbage can. A couple things I would suggest doing. Figure out which length you want to go with. It comes with 3. We're going to go with the shorter one, which is going to put it slightly higher. We had the option of going with this one, which would put it slightly lower. Either one would have worked fine. We're going to go with slightly higher. The other thing that I strongly recommend is go through the directions, go step by step. This stuff has to be put on at a certain point, and it's so easy to miss some of that. So go ahead and follow the directions step by step. Couple tips here on the installation part. If you'll look right here, there were screws in every one of these. That's where the screws were stored. It basically says go ahead and mount this motor up there and then put the blades on. Hey, that's cool. Do it that way if you like, but at the very least, remove all of these screws. There's no reason to stand on a ladder and be removing screws one by one. That's a lot of screws, okay? So as you can see here, I've got a few blades on. I'm going to put one more blade on. I'm going to leave 2 off. That's going to be the area that I'm going to be working in, and I'll put the last 2 blades up from the ladder. Do that part however you please, but that's how I'm doing it, and I think that's the best. That's why I'm doing it that way. The other thing I want to show you here, the wiring part's pretty simple. Of course, make sure your breaker's off. Like I told you, I have 2 different, I've got a fan and a light. This will not work with that as far as fan and light being on a different switch. You're going to have a remote. We're going to go over all of that at the end. So, but you're going to have one hot wire, which is your black here. You have your neutral and a ground. So I have this hooked up here. I am going to have to disconnect this ground because I have to add the ground from the fan in. So I'll do that once I get that mounted up here. But what I want to show you is this was the one I wanted to go with. The black wire up here is capped off and not being used. So once this fan gets hooked over into this, we'll slide this through with the antenna wire sticking out, and that'll slide in just like so. And then we'll have the wires on the outside here, and there'll be some wires coming through here to hook that up. And that's all the wiring there is. You've got a black, white, and a ground to wire up. That's all there is to that. So right here, there's a pin that goes through. That's going to do all the heavy lifting. Get that dropped in, and then these 2 screws lock it down. We've got that up here on the top. Down here on the bottom, very similar deal. You've got a pin that goes all the way through with a cotter pin on the end to keep that from going anywhere. And then on top of that, we've got a screw here, and there's another one right here. We're going to lock those down so nothing's moving, but this is really what's holding all the weight. Okay, here we go. It's time to hang the fan. Got those 2 screws I showed you tightened down. We're not going to worry about the light kit yet. Go ahead and get the fan mounted. Now we're going to want to go ahead and have this out. And then we'll just pick this up. Put it right through. Now I've got that cable in the way. This cable can be tied off up here to the unit. Yeah, and that's it. As you can see, it's setting sideways because I don't have these last 2 in here so that I've got plenty of room to work. So we got to do is lock this in here and put these two together and attach that ground that I told you about, and we're all set. So tell me in the comments, what would you do? Does this make the most sense? It does to me as far as putting the fan blades on, but I'd like your thoughts on it. Okay, the ground is tied in. We are good there. We've got a magnetic piece. Hope you put that on there the right direction, because if you didn't, you're getting ready to unplug everything and take the fan back down. I did, luckily. We're just going to neatly tuck everything into this pretty large area we have here for covering up our wires. And there'll be 2 screws that are sticking out on that mount, just enough for us to hopefully put these right over these keyholes. That's exactly where they're at. They're here. So let me get these kind of a little more out of the way and kind of get these maybe tucked in a little better as well. Let's try to make it easy. I might even give these another turn or two to make sure they're sticking out enough. All right. And there they are. Okay, there's one. Give those a twist. Screwdriver in my pocket here. Just give these a couple turns to lock this into place. Okay, for the light fixture, there are 3 screws right here we're going to go ahead and take out. And here may be the hardest part of installing the light fixture. I'll show it to you here. You take and turn that counterclockwise a quarter turn. The lens comes off. And then you'll see a spot right here that you're going to plug this in. So we're going to run our plug right through here, and we're going to plug it in. Got all 3 screws in. Now it's time for the finishing touches to put the lens in. Let's see what this thing looks like running. I've installed a lot of ceiling fans over the years, including newer ones like this with the DC motor. This one was just as easy, if not easier, than the rest of them. The last thing I want to go over with you are a couple thoughts I have about it. One is the look. That's kind of like the main thing. I like the black blades. I like that there's a lot of blades, modern look to it. This thing is a 72-inch, so we went from a 52 to a 72, much larger. They make an 84. They make some other smaller sizes. If you want to put this out in your, we're of course here in our master bedroom, but if you want to put this out on the patio, the blades are made of plastic. I hate seeing porch fans and the blades drooping down. You're not going to have that problem with these blades here. So to me, overall, this thing is a 10 out of 10. Ease of installation, quality of products. And speaking of quality, let me show you a few things. Would you step up here under the light a little more? And I'll hold this up where you can see. I have this on the brightest setting, and it's rather bright in here. You can probably tell it's brighter than it was earlier with the old fan. And the cool thing is I can dim that down. It goes pretty dim. Also, you can change the temperature of the light. That's the coolest. That's kind of medium. And there's your warmest. And that kind of matches our lamps the closest, so that's where I'm going to leave it. Also, you get some timers on here, 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour. So maybe if you're going to run it overnight for bed, you can hit the 8 hour, and you don't have to worry about forgetting to turn it back off. There's also a mute button. I haven't figured out exactly what that's for yet, but there's also this wind here, which will have it kind of like naturally go up and down on the speeds on its own. They're putting those on a lot of the newer fans. And then you've got 6 speeds here. So let's turn it on, and we'll have it at the slowest speed. And it's actually in reverse. So let's turn it back to forward. We can hit the button here. These fans are smart. It's not really working against itself. It's going to kind of wait for it to stop and then give it some power and go the other direction. And here we go with that. This will be the slowest speed. This will probably be what we run it on. Now, it's actually quite a bit of wind. I can feel it really good because it's so big and there's so many blades. Now, if you look over here, you can see the curtain. Maybe you can see it slightly moving from the wind. Let's turn it all the way up. First off, let's see if it's going to wobble. and let's see if we can see any other wind. And I'll tell you, I've already seen it on this when it's on full blast. You can see it blowing this around, and you'll also see it blowing this here in just a minute a lot more. You may be able to hear the wind off of it, but you do not hear the motor. It's completely silent. And to me, that is a big quality difference. The other thing is these DC motors take a lot less electricity. Not that the AC ones take a ton, but these take a whole lot less. So to me, this one's hard to beat. The only thing that this one doesn't have that I've seen on some fans is a Wi-Fi connector for your phone. But the ones that have that are a lot more expensive. And I've had those, and I've never even hooked up my phone on them. So I don't know that it's for me. It might be for you. But this remote is one of the things that was rated really high about this one. It's simple, it's intuitive, and it's really one of my favorite parts of the fan.